Hey guys, Will here, and today I've decided to do something a little different and show you guys all the coins that I've found metal detecting since I started in mid-March of 2020. And I just thought it'd be cool to show you guys, all the cool stuff that I found, and because coins are my favorite thing to find, and the other things, give you an idea of the other things that I was used to finding before I moved out of an older area. I used to live at a really old house and I found a lot of good stuff at it. I miss it, but these things always kind of bring those memories back to life, so let's get into it.
Okay, so here is the first page out of a lot of coins. The majority of these are wheat pennies. I do put wheat pennies in. And you see, some will have this date under here, but some don't, and that's because I started documenting at a certain point in 2020. I think it was around maybe September, maybe before that. No, it was August. So at least as early as August was. So it was because when I started finding my coppers, I used to have this bin I put coins in, and I didn't want to damage them. So I got flips for them, and I figured, well, why not document stuff that I find? And that's how that happened. But this was the very first old coin that I found, and I found it in the most unlikely way. It's an Indian head penny. And you can see the headdress there, United States of America, and the date's 1907. Yeah, that's better. Here's the back, and I found it at a boat launch that was built in the 70s up around Willsboro. And what was cool about it is Indian head pennies have always been picked from circulation ever since numismatics became such a huge hobby. And the odds that somebody dropped that in the 60s or 70s and happened to have it in their pocket and happened to not notice that it was an Indian head penny is just incredibly rare. And that's how I think it happened. I hope that's how it happened because the cards fell in my favor there, and I got my first old coin. I found that before any wheat pennies too. It was early on in my detecting career. I wasn't sure how far I was going to go. I had a cheap little detector then, and I went down there. I found a couple of coins, and I found that, and that's what got me hooked on this hobby. And I was like, I'm doing this for the rest of my life. So these are in somewhat chronological order, but because of when I started documenting some of the wheat pennies, I found this wheat penny, so I found this one before I found this. So wheat pennies are a little bit, for the first couple pages, are out of place. But anyways, let's dive right in and see what else there is to enjoy and look at. There's a lot too. Alright, so this silver dime I found at my grandma's house, and it was the first silver I ever found. And what's cool about it is it's from 1963, and that's actually her the year that she was married, and I found it on her birthday. So just kind of a really cool coincidence there. But yeah, that was my first silver. This was my first silver quarter that I found at my other house. I thought it was a clad quarter because, as you can see, it's really stained. You can still see some of the black there. I cleaned it off the best I could. It's worth melt value. There's no reason not to. But it was so black and so tarnished, back and front. So I thought it was a clad quarter, and I started rubbing it, and I saw the date was 1940, and I just screamed out silver quarter, and that's how I found that one. So this right here is my first ever Hibernia, and I found that on August 20th, 2020. The King George III Hibernia, and it's from 1782. The date is right there. You can see the 8-2. It's kind of hard to see it under the film. You can see 1782. All right. Now we've got a King George Copper. It's super wiped. It could be a VA, but I don't think it is because of how worn it is. Plus, it doesn't have the distinct bust shape of a VA. It doesn't have like the smaller head and the drapery on it. And the long hair. This one looks like it has like the armor of King George. Yeah, there it is. It's sideways. You can see it there. A little bit better. You can see like the hair tie. So it's obviously not a VA. It could be a state, but I'm guessing it's a King George. Alright, moving on. Okay, so this is my first ever large set. And this first page may take a little while because it's just a lot of my first things that I found. We're not going to go over every single coin, but we're going to just go through the more significant ones. I mean, unless you guys saw something and you want to know more about it, if you saw a coin that I didn't go over and you want to know more about it, just let me know in the comments and I'll be happy to aid you on that one. But this is an 1805. It looks like an 1807, but it's an 1805. Draped bust, large set. You can see the curve of the 5. It's some angles it looked like a 7, but it's a 5. And I found that. That was my third ever copper. So, and all I found was draped busts up until my first matron, which was almost a year later, a little more than a year later. So this is my first New Jersey copper. It's a really nice one, and I found a lot of coppers. Like I found like 30 in a little 50 by 50 square. There was dump grounds up there, but there was also dropped coppers, and it was an amazing hot spot, honey hole for me. This one is actually overstruck with a Vermont. The date's 1787, and it's a Maris 56, which is the camel head. And Maris 56 is just how numismatists identify the coin. But this type of variety, it's the most common New Jersey copper, but it's overstruck on a Vermont, and you can see it right there. See the chin right above the middle of my thumbnail. See the nose again above my thumbnail. What looks like the eye above my thumbnail, the forehead, and then it goes around, and yeah, and you can see right above my thumb there, right in the middle, right above it is the G for Georgia, so it's on top of a counterfeit King George copper, and I can tell based on all the facial structure, because a genuine one would not have that wonky looking face to it. And actually, an interesting fact is that a lot of the jerseys, these Maris 56 ones, and a lot of the camel heads were struck over on already minted coins because the man who struck them, Matthias Ogden, realized that he could save a lot of money by buying already circulated coins in bulk versus copper plancets. So he did that and he made a huge profit. His margins were out of this world. But yeah, that's that. This is my first ever copper, and it was a Connecticut Copper. I waited so long for this moment, and I was so happy when I found it. And I actually have footage of when I found it, and I might upload that just as like cringe stuff too, because I used to pretend I was a YouTuber. Oops. But yeah, I found that in mid-August 2020, a little over 2 years ago. It's actually a really nice Connecticut. But yeah, that's that. Alright, moving on. So this is just a Metropolitan Life New York World's Fair token from 1940, which is still pretty cool. Crackerjack Mystery Club token. I found quite a few of these. This had nothing on it, but the black color and all the pitting, I'm guessing it's a counterfeit because of the mixing, and I can tell, because if it wasn't counterfeit, there wouldn't be all this pitting in the black, because that is a result of the mixing of metals that are incorrect. That's why this one was different color from this one, or this one, or this one, or this one, because the metals in it weren't mixed the way they should have been. If this was not struck on a counterfeit King George, it would look more like this, but it's only because the metals were mixed like that. At least I'm pretty sure. That's my hunch. But yeah, this one's a counterfeit. There's nothing on that one. This is a King George. It's actually in fairly nice shape. Ignore that date. I thought the date was bigger than it actually is. It's not 1771. There's literally nothing on the back. My eyes are playing tricks on me there. this is my first ever real, and this is probably this is the only coin I've ever cried at when I found it, because I was so happy to find it. And I knew it was gonna happen sooner or later. Here's the front. It's got a hole in it too, and it's either me or the rocky soil that I was in scratching, because there were big round rocks. So I don't know. It's 1773.
Yeah, it's a 3. It looks like a 5, but it's a 3. And it's a Mexico City mint. My first ever half real. That one was very emotional for me. Actually, I thought it was a little Tomback button, because so on the Ace 400, it just up averages all things, because it's just a single frequency detector at only 10 kilohertz. It up averages mid conductors as well as high conductors. So you may dig a super high signal, but it could end up being a mid conductor. That's what happened with small Tomback buttons. All Tomback buttons, but I would dig up a small one and I would think it was a silver coin because it was a high tone. And this was a high tone, and I didn't believe it was silver until I flipped it over and saw this side, and I was like, holy crap, I just dug my first real. But yeah, that's that, and that's the first page. These are all just wheat pennies. This was the first coin I ever found, like, laying on top of the ground. This was before I was metal detecting back in 2018, and I don't know why I did not think that maybe there was more under the ground, but it didn't. So that's page 1. Let's move on to page 2. Alright guys, so this video's been going kind of long in the same direction the whole time, so I'm just gonna spice things up a bit, just go over only certain things. So this was the first wheat penny I ever found. I just want to show that. Back when I used that little cheap detector that I used to have, if you could find stuff with it, I was finding things because logically I knew there would be other stuff there too. But yeah, 1910 wheat penny, it's really corroded, this part. I mean, the red isn't horrible. Like, this side isn't bad looking for a wheat penny out of the basic soil at our house. I mean, it was really like, wheat pennies were destroyed in it, like that. You can't even tell that's a wheat penny, or that. And this one I actually cleaned. That's why it has the orange color. This, I mean, it just came out so horribly. In some places, though, that there was this black soil, and the coins came out like this. So, like, really nice. So that's actually a nicer example, but the silvers would come stained. That was the only trade-off. So, let me get that. There we go. Alright. Another King George. This is a 1774. I could tell by the date there was barely enough. You can see 177. I looped it, and it's a 1774. I did scratch it a little bit, but so cool. Indian head penny. That was only my second ever. I never found these. I never find these. Like, these things always elude me. It's so weird. It's in 1896. Try to bring it in closer. Yeah, you can see it now. 1896. It's really corroded. Pennies were destroyed in my yard. I mean, gone. My first ever cut coin. This was a matron head large cent, and it was cut in a quarter. I can't see any datage there. There probably is part of a digit, but I honestly don't know. I don't want to cut in too much to see some of the stars and some of the wreaths in 1 cent. So that was pretty cool. I found that in front of my barn that used to be in front of my house. We took it down though, because it was gonna fall down. My first ever seeded coin, 1884 dime. And I actually filmed a lot of this stuff that I found, but it was deleted from my family iPad just because it just took up so much storage. And this I deleted from my GoPro because I never figured out how to remove the SD card without breaking it. And yeah, you know how that story ended. Yeah, so this I found on Christmas Day, and it's a cut Nova Constellatio. This is a really cool find. And you can see the rays there, and I thought it was like a relic, but then I realized what I had found after I saw the stump, the rays there, and it says the Justinia there for justice, and there's the wreath. It'd be really nice. This would be such a nice coin if it was whole. It would have the script
US in there for this variety, the 1785. And actually, hang on. Where was the date on here? I know it's a 1785 based on the blunt rays. Just like I didn't really have a date to go by. The date's right down here, but I could tell by the blunt rays that it's a 1785. And by the position of the letters, I had just enough detail to get the exact variety. So that is page 2. I gotta fix that. That might fall out. I actually had a dream that fell out, so I better do it. But on to the next page. Okay, so here's where things get interesting. So I actually stumbled upon this dumped hotspot, like I said before, and I found tons of coppers in it. I mean, you know, and lots of state coppers and things. I found 8 state coppers last year. Let me see, it was, so it was 3 Vermonts and 5 Connecticut's. But yeah, I found a ton last year. So, anyways, let's dive right into this. So this Royale I found on my dad's birthday, and the ground was still half frozen. It was really hard to dig, but this one I had my AT Gold. I got an Ace 400 as my first detector, then I got an AT Gold, then I sold that because of performance issues, because it wasn't getting the performance that I thought it would with like the small coil. I mean, it's a machine that hasn't really been updated that much, in almost 10 years, and I get that, but so I got my Equinox, and I've done amazingly with that. It's been so good to me. But 1781 Real, and this one is actually minted in Lima, Peru. So that mint mark, if you ever see that, like that NE, that means it was minted in Lima, Peru. And this is actually a nice one, and I scratched it too. I mean, the majority of silver coins that I found I've actually scratched. It's weird. Well, the majority up until a few days ago, because now it's not 50%. But a few of these, my first ever V-nickel. These are just wheat pennies. I'm not going to show anymore. 1908, first ever one. I found that with my AT Gold. It came up as like a 60 something before I dug it. And I wasn't sure what it was going to be, but I knew it was going to be good, and then I found it V-nickel. My first ever mercury dime. I did not find a merc my first year metal detecting. 42. This was, and a lot of these are from the same houses. Like, I never asked permissions. All of this is from the same house. First page, everything, except this coin, and this, and this. Everything else is from the same house. All of this is from the same house, like every single one of these coins. So, anyways, this is when I discovered the dump. I found this half penny of some sort. Then I found my first KG2, which became my oldest coin. You can see the top of there. And I cleaned this off, and now you can't see the 5, but you might be able to. Yeah, right there. It looks like a 5, so I'm guessing it's a 35 because it's a young head based on the tip of the head. If it's like more rounded out, it would be pointed if it was the older head variety. This is a Counterfeit Connecticut. I mean, it's speculation. They're probably counterfeits. They were made at Machin's Mills because they can tell, and it's really cool. The way they can tell where they were minted is actually by the letter punches, because certain engravers would work at certain mints, and certain engravers would work at Machin's Mills, and they know because Machin's Mills made legal coins for Vermont, and those same letter punches were actually ended up on other coppers, like New York coppers, Connecticut coppers, New Jersey, etc. And actually, my New Jersey that I found they thought was minted at Machin's Mills because of the punches on the A and the N, I'm pretty sure, or the A and the P. Because it would have like this broken A, or the A. So if you have like, here. So let's just do something real quick. So if you have an A, normal letter, hang on. You have like a normal letter A, okay? So that's like about what they would do. But the broken A would come up like that, and it'd be like that. Like it'd have a whole chunk of it missing right there. So that's how they figured out who was making stuff at Martian's Mills. But anyways, that's a Counterfeit, Connecticut. I found this in the same hole with this and this, and this were all in the same hole. Hibernia from 1775. I thought it was a 76, but it's a 75. And it's clipped right there, which is pretty cool. Then I found probably my oldest coin. It's a William III, and my name's William, so it's just extra special for me to find it. And I was like, what is it? And then it clicked. Oh, it's a William. I still have the footage of me finding all of this stuff. The coppers, like this later on, like all the coppers in my dump, I documented most of them in the first dump. But, William III halfpenny. And this, I won a metal detector because I found this coin. This is a Connecticut Copper, and it's an absolutely stunning shape. And it's 1785. But the thing about it is the variety, and it's the Miller 6.4K. And the Miller just who organized and classified all the varieties, and the variety, the K, so there's the 6.4 is the obverse. So the number is the obverse, and for Connecticut Coppers, the number is the obverse, and the letter is the reverse. And the reverse on this is the K reverse, and there's only about 20 of these known. I won it, one Von Garrett's favorite finds with this, and you can look on the site. It's for July 2021, and I won an Ace Apex with it. So I was really happy with that. But this coin has some value to it. This is an actual copper with value to it. This is another KG2. Just quick, I thought I'd show that. It's a nicer shape. Don't have a date on that. My first ever Vermont, which is an exquisite shape too. And it's not worn, it actually just has a weaker strike. Most of the Martian's Mills, another way they'd identify them is by the weaker strike. But it's got the break, the die break right across the mail there. And a die break, if you don't know, is when, so the dies are what stamp the image into the coin, and when or strike the image into the coin, I should say. And sometimes the inside would break out because the die would either be poorly made or be used a lot and get weaker. And so a chunk of the die actually broke out on this, and so it just created that when basically the copper filled in the empty space in the die, there was that break there. So yeah, this is another one that's got value to it, another Vermont. I don't metal detect only for the value, but it's nice to find stuff that has value. There's a Counterfeit King George. It's got a weirdly weird looking face. Like, you compare that to another King George, and the letters are super big, and they are not the correct font, so it is a counterfeit. Indian Head, Connecticut. This I found at a friend's house. It's a draped bust, and their house was actually built in the 1930s, but the original house is from the 1840s, and then it burned down, and it wasn't occupied for like 75 years, and then they rebuilt it in the 30s, and then got struck by lightning again. There's a lot of things that happened to that house, but it was pounded on the edges, so I'm guessing this was actually dropped in like the 1840s because that's when large cents became unpopular, and I don't think in like the time of the draped bust that they would just go and pound out something like that, especially at like a farmhouse. You know, why would a farmer do that? Vermont, wheat pennies. This is a Sunoco antique car token. Okay, so on to the next page. So these two I found in a spill together, and I do have the footage on my GoPro, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I don't think I erased all of that on that SD card. But 1916 and 1916, so it's kind of cool. None of this is not a 16D, and I'll show you. No mint marks on either of them. I wish it was. When I saw the 16 in the GoPro footage, I was like, oh shoot, it's a 16. There's the barber. That's my only barber that I've ever found. It does have a little nick right there. And that's me, nicking silver coins. I always do it, and it's super annoying. That's just me. So yeah, these are in the same hole. It's kind of cool because it's like a transition here still. First ever buffalo nickel. I was so happy when I found this. This was like cloud 9 for me. It's a 1917, and you can't even see the date that much. You can just see like the 7. I don't even know if you can see that. Yeah, it's the camera's okay. There it is, right there, above my thumbnail. You can see the 7. It's a 1917. I mean, why couldn't it be a 27? Well, it's not, because I already identified it before I cleaned it off. I tried doing steel wool, but I decided not to. I chickened out at the last second. Mercury dime, 25. These are rosies. All this, and again, all this stuff is at the same house. As are these coppers. 1774 King George. This is my nicest KG3 or King George. It's got really nice detail. 1774. This is a 1787 Connecticut. And yeah, there it is. There's the date. Is it? You can see it. 1787. There's the front. It's got some corrosion on it, but it's alright. I also have the variety on some of them. Miller 37cc1, and I can tell that because of rate. Where is it? Let me see if I can find it. There was this little detail on, like, they put these little images around the coin, and there was this little detail that I saw that made it that variety. Connecticut 1786. That's a nice one. I mean, it's got like chippy patina on it, but that's okay. It's in pretty nice shape too. I did used to wash my coins off, but it wasn't a huge deal because, so like for this one, you can see the patina's chipping off for one, but you can see that under patina there, and that's the color of most of the other coppers I found. And it wouldn't wreck it because it'd be a nicer color underneath. So it wouldn't completely destroy the copper. That's a Vermont 1787 drape bust, and this is a beautiful drape bust. Look at this, and it was on edge, which is why it's so beautiful. Look at that thing. That is a monster. 1802. That is an amazing large cent there, but not as amazing as this large cent. Another drape bust, and it's 1700s. Look how beautiful this thing is. 1798. That's my oldest U.S. coin, and that was a big bucket lister. I've always wanted a 1700s U.S. coin. That thing's a beast. If anything. Indian head penny, 1897. These I did not find at my house. I found them at a permission. I found a ton of this stuff. So this one is a 1928 Merc, and I wrote that on there because I took them both out of their sleeves just to distinguish which one went in which sleeve. So, wheat pennies, this is a silver quarter. I only found one silver quarter my first year and one my second year, but I've got 3 this year. 1943. So that hunt happened on September 12th, and then I found these at my house. So there's a wheat penny there. And, oh no, wait. No. This one I found at my grandma's. Yeah. 1920. It was pretty deep too. Here's an Indian I found on my birthday, and it's in really rough shape, unfortunately, but it's an Indian head penny. I love me an Indian head. And then I went to the same house where I found the silver quarter, and then it had never been hunted. I mean, I pulled so many coins out. All of these came out of that house. It's on the same day. 1928, and every time I go there, I'm on a time crunch, which is the most annoying thing ever. I can only be there for 2 hours, 2 or 3 hours. It's so annoying, but it's just the way it is. Alright, then I found this while my mom was getting she was digging out on the side of our house, and she was digging dirt out because they were going to landscape it, and then found that, and then I found that in there, just sitting in there. And I normally only put stuff I found metal detecting, but this had to go in there because it's a cap bust. And it was just right sitting there, and I thought it was because it was raining out, and I could see the shininess on the light, but I thought that it was gonna be zinc penny because the lighting was like an orange lighting and it looked orange. And then I saw it and I realized it's a cap bust. So that was really cool. First ever war nickel. It's a 1943p. And you can tell because it's got the mint mark above Monticello. That's how you can tell it's a silver nickel. That's an Australian coin, and I actually did find an Australian coin earlier that year. I don't put it in here though because it's made in jewelry. It's basically an Australian florin from 1944, and that's a pretty big silver coin. But they melted it and they turned it into a pendant, and the pendant part broke, I guess, but I don't have it with me right now. But yeah, that's the second Australian coin I found at that house. 1817 matron. This is my first ever full matron head large set. So I found that in my field. And it's a nice farm field coin. This is what I mean. Like, they come out like this, and if you wash it off, it really doesn't change much about it. I didn't wash this one, but because it was just like, the date was just kind of weak, so I decided not to. William III, which I found in my field. And my house was built in 1789, so I don't know why there's coins that old. I mean, there's probably just something happening there, because I found so many buttons and stuff. Now, this is the first copper of the year. This is actually the first, this is the first coin of the year. Connecticut Copper. Found it at the same site, or my house, and it's the last copper I ever found there. Last Connecticut, because we moved. There could still be more there, which, it gets to me, but hey, I mean, it is what it is, right? Alright. Yeah, this one was toasted, though. This is the most toasted copper I've ever found. And look, it's just gone. But, hey, it's a Connecticut. I love it. Antique car coin from 1969. Here's a Buffalo nickel I found this year. It's a 1919. It's in fairly nice shape. I found this one at my grandma's house. Then I found this, and this is actually where my YouTube channel starts. I found this. It's my earliest video from roughly 4 months ago. 1836 Young Head Matron Head Large Set. So, you guys probably know what these coins are, but 1836. It's in nice shape. The front's in really nice shape, but the back, again, the coins are just destroyed. Here's a wheat penny. So I found it at a friend's house. This is also in a video. This is my second video. Another 1817. I think it's a 15 stars based on the spacing. I could be wrong, but it's in kind of rough shape. This is one that I would wash off because it has all the details on it. It would just make the coin have like a more even look to it, because if it just got a spot in there, I would want to take that off. This Real is also in a video. It does not have a date. Seeded quarter, my first one. Here's an 80-head penny I found at my grandma's house, which I did not film, but my YouTube channel was on then. My first fatty, and it's in really beautiful shape. This is an 1870, and it's actually a semi-key date, and it's actually worth like $50 in lowest grade. And it's in like mint, but it's got this pitting on it, so it's gonna take some of the value off. Seeded quarter, shield nickel, my first ever, and it's in beautiful shape. 1868. It's the most common year, but I love it. Shield nickel. Namco tokens. These are also in my videos from like the 90s, early 2000s. Found this in my current house that I'm at now. I found a couple of the wheat pennies here too, but that was it. Then I went to that same house where I've been wrecking shop again, and I found 3 silver coins, which is my most ever in a day, including my first SLQ. And I also got a Washington, and then that Rosie, and everything else was wheat pennies. So, yeah, I still have a few pages to fill out. That's my coin collection now. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm tired from filming it. It was pretty long. I hope you guys don't find it too boring. I just wanted to share a few of the things I found. But
check out my other videos and leave a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and yeah, that's about it. I gotta go back to sleep. Have a good day, you guys.